Let's watch this video.
The West will always prefer an old dying man to a young generation of Africa to lead us.
Yes.
Because the West will prefer a dumb. There are so many ailments that are associated with old age. Example is dementia. Apart from ailment, if somebody is getting old, the ability for their brain to process information as fast as possible is no longer there. That is why you see Tinubu talking, I will come. That slow processing of brain in an era of rocket science, that is the global technology, the advancement into every aspect of life as we speak, Tinubu cannot comprehend it anymore. Do you understand? So if the Chinese are coming to a round table to negotiate loan agreement with a 40-year-old Nigerian, and they are coming on a round table to negotiate loan agreement with a 70-year-old acclaimed president who obviously is up to 90 or 100 years.
Yes.
You understand me?
Yes.
This thing is applicable to all African countries because they know that we have abundance of mineral resources in Africa. They are interested in these mineral resources in Africa, and they know that the only way they can get much more richer access to our mineral resources is to have a poor bargain, a poor negotiation on our loans. Why are we even taking loans from them? Loan. So why can't we come up with brilliant negotiation like that will favor technological advancement in our society? As I speak with you, if Tinubu tell you he does not know what is artificial intelligence, you will not blame him. You will not blame him.
Yes.
So that old person is preferable to the West to lead us, to be at our forefront, so that whenever they come into our society to steal our resources, they will meet the old weak brain. Apart from their brain being dead, these people were the people who the mental slavery they brought got hold of more than our generation. Do you understand me? Because during they are more closer to colonization than us. Because our generation is asking different critical questions. But this generation of Tinubu and the rest old dead presidents, their generation were not questioning. They were just dumb, dull, and dancing to the tunes. Yes. Now, apart from the fact that they want these old people, if you look at most of these African countries where their president used to rule them for 30 years, 70 years, where there is usually one old leader associated. If you look at the Minister of Justice, 90 years. If you look at the different positions allocated to old dead brain to pilot the affairs of a vibrant nation with mineral deposit, you cannot get a good result from that. And a country is not meant to be ruled at the mercy of their leader. So there is something I have come to notice in Nigeria. You know, before when we take a look at Mugabe, we just this kind of nonsense cannot happen in Nigeria. That is what we used to say. But and if you look at how they rule at old age, do whatever they like, and bring their children into the system, you can see that Nigeria is taking slow steps. If you look at the election that brought Tinubu, the APC primary election that brought Tinubu, almost all the presidential aspirants that defected for him are presently in government. I'm coming, I'm heading somewhere. Now, this shows you that they are still nursing their presidential ambition. Somebody like Wike is still nursing his presidential ambition. Somebody like Umahi, all of them have their presidential ambition kept in their heart while they are growing. So it shows you that there is high tendency of us to be having a 90-year-old president in the future, because these people are not ready to leave the stage. Now, there is something they are doing to protect themselves and protect their presidential ambition, so that it cannot be a turn by turn and accommodate them. That thing is the ability to make sure that the government does not have any opposition. If you go to Mugabe, go to Paul Biya, go to all these other African countries that have decade system we used to talk about, they don't have opposition. They don't have functional opposition. They make the the INEC is their property, the police is their property, the military is their property, every sector of the government is their property. And if you look at the Nigeria of today, that is where we are headed. And we are almost there, because the ability to come out and defeat this system is no longer there. Do you understand? If you look at what the president said recently, the president said something and people did not weigh the significance of that statement. I will play the statement for you to hear.
Senate President, thank you. I will send you to the other side. To represent me, and that you can scatter them anyway you want. They are confused.
Now, look at this statement. He said, Akpabio, he's talking to the Senate president, that I would have sent you into the camp of the opposition so that you represent me there. This man is an old man. He's just talking like an old man who is beginning to talk like a child. Otherwise, that is their secret. That is what he is doing. But he is saying it publicly because his brain, this is time he can see Sheyi and misunderstand for another child. Yes, that is how the brain, naturally, this has nothing to do with, this is nature. So he is disclosing their secret publicly in a funny manner, and Nigerians are busy laughing with him. He said, I will send you into their camp to represent me there and scatter them. And they were all laughing, which means from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. He cannot just imagine that thing on that stage, which means that thing has been imagined. And it means if you look at every sector of our society, you will see this present government taking a lead, scattering people, making sure that people cannot come together to function as people, because democracy is the government of the people. For the yes. Now, if people cannot exist as a people, there can never be democracy among them. So the target is to scatter people. That is that statement. So our president is telling us that. And the most painful thing I have come to see in the system is this government is making sure that state properties that belong to the federal government, and we are all citizens of Nigeria, oppositions cannot get access to that government property. It is being regulated as their personal property. Very soon they will make sure opposition parties cannot do their convention. Opposition party cannot hold their campaigns. Opposition party, very soon you will hear different local government chairman. I had one Moron from River State LMA local government chairman. He said before anybody can gather for political reasons, the local government, we have to give them permission.
Why?
Do you understand me? Now they can come up in different states and say before any party can gather, they will give them permissions, which means they can now regulate opposition party. And if you look at Cameroon and other African countries, when election is coming up, the old dying system that want to remain there forever, they will make sure that other political parties does not have the liberty to gather, to campaign, and to exercise their freedom of speech. Right. So with such system, you cannot defeat them. They can stay there for 100 years. Yes, because and that is what they are doing. So what they will do is, after taking the whole loaf of bread, they will scatter the crumbs for some rogues and idiots in the society. They will start praising them. And they don't care. They can stage different kinds of argument to defend these governments. That is where we are headed. And these old people, you know where? You know the funny thing? They are all still going to be the loser at the end, because they think they will win. They don't know the plan of the West. This is the most important aspect of this conversation. Yes. These people don't know.
This guy is a genius. This guy is a genius. I have came across his videos several times. And whatever this guy says is pure fact. He has studied African leadership. I'm telling you fact. I'm telling you honestly. This guy has studied African leadership. The way the West operates, the way African leaders operate. You know, the West truly don't want young Africans to be in the governance. They prefer the oldest people to lead Nigeria, because they are the people that they can easily manipulate. Because young generation like us, understand, that did not witness, slave trade and colonization. The West cannot easily deceive me. Understand? The West cannot easily deceive me. Whatever they are doing, before they plan it, I already know what they want to do. I already know their plans. I already know where they are coming from and where they are heading to. So if they make a young guy like me a president of any nation in Africa, definitely they are not going to manipulate me. Look at Ibrahim Traore, for example. Ibrahim Traore is just 30-something years. 30-something years of age. And you see what he's going with them. They have tried so many ways, but yet they can't penetrate this guy. They can't access this guy, because he's a young, talented and vibrant African. You understand? So that's why these people prefer installing old fools into power, so that they can easily access them and manipulate our nation or our continent. The younger African, the young generation should wake up. Understand? The young generation should wake up, and what we should focus on is how to take power from these old people. how to take power from these old people, because the West cannot manipulate the young generation. It's not possible. It's not possible. If the younger generations take power from these old people that are leading Africa, instead we are going to unite Africa, and we are going to prosper. We are going to prosper because they cannot access us. If younger generation take over power, we can no longer be accessible. African continent can no longer be accessible, and we are going to rebuild Africa. We are going to unite, and the only thing that can liberate Africa is the unity of Africa. The earlier we understand this, better for all of us. The earlier we realize this, better for all of us. Why do these people keep installing old people? Because their brain is already old, and they can't think, they can't reason properly anymore. They can't reason properly anymore. Our leaders can't even address us. They can't even come out, in a public and address the people they are governing, without reading from a written note. Without reading from a written note, they cannot address the people they are governing. We cannot get it right if we don't remove all these old people from power. That's the honest truth. That's the honest truth. We need younger generation to lead this continent. We need younger generation to lead this continent. At least somebody that is above 60 years should not be in power. Any man that is above 60 years in Africa should not be in power. That's the only way we can get it right.